The Equalizer. But not just one, three equalizers. Now you might think I'm talking about Moses and Elijah and Jesus, but no, I'm talking about Edward Woodward, Denzel Washington, and Queen Latifah. Yes, the Equalizer, some of you might have seen this, is a character who, on behalf of the underdog, the little guy, the Equalizer dispenses justice upon the bully, the criminal, the corrupt, and powerful. That's the premise of the TV show, the 80s version, that I watched as a kid starring Edward Woodward. Now, there have been 2 different reboots of the show. One is a series of movies featuring Denzel Washington, and then the TV series. Of course, these recent revisioning iterations of The Equalizer upset some conservatives because the old white man was replaced by 2 different black actors. And for the TV reboot, if you caught any of it, Queen Latifah is Robin McCall, and she is also a lesbian. So, that's so woke, it's just awful, And we kind of laugh. It's funny, but it actually isn't ha-ha funny. The brouhaha has really actually, when you look at it and think about it, it's really just been about the surface stuff. The color, the gender, sexuality. But they haven't revisioned the premise. A lone, skilled, former spy equalizing unjust situations through, especially the movie version, graphic violence. No, our culture, our world, doesn't have a problem with that premise at all. Really. We have no problem with violence, right? We're really good at it. We've been practicing using violence forever. How do we fix things? More guns. It's nothing new. In our gospel for today, the disciple, Peter, doesn't have any problem calling Jesus the Christ or the Messiah. Christ is not Jesus' last name. It's the Greek word for Messiah, God's anointed. The one who is anointed by God to fix a situation, to put things right, to overturn injustice, to bring equality and equity, using our modern vocab. And who doesn't want that? I certainly do. We all do. We want the little guy, whether it's Judeans and Jews living under the thumb of Romans in Jesus' day, Palestinians in Gaza, Ukrainians, white working class men feeling disenfranchised, family farmers, migrant workers, women, LGBTQIA plus folks, to be safe and have an equal chance at everything in life. And that's just a few of our categories. Peter vocalizes for us the hope of a great equalizer. The problem is Jesus was not of the many things. He was not a trained assassin. He wasn't a strategic general or another imposing figure. In fact, Jesus goes on to describe how he's basically going to fail. Really, when you think about it, he's going to fail by all the standards. He's going to anger the powers that be, and they will go and use the tactic that they've always used, violence, and take him out. For Peter, this is unthinkable. What kind of a leader gives a pep talk emphasizing defeat and death. I am pretty sure at the Super Bowl, when they go for their huddles or in the locker room, there's going to be no talk about you're just going to take that hit and you're going to go down and you're going to like it and everyone's going to cheer for you. No, that's not how this world works. So Peter tries to shush Jesus. And we all know how well shushing is received. Of course, here's another reminder that Jesus is human. Jesus does the same thing. But unlike Peter, who kind of tried to do it privately, Jesus does it publicly in front of everyone. Not the best way of dealing with interpersonal issues and stuff. So Jesus isn't always perfect. He's human. So no matter how we might want to dress Jesus up, he's human. That's one of the reasons why I particularly like our pericope, our assigned reading for today, using this narrative lectionary. Because on this day, Transfiguration Sunday, usually you only hear one part of that story that we heard, the part where they go up the mountain. Jesus is transformed, he's all sparkling, he's looking fabulous. But no, we get a bigger part of the story. We don't just see this transfiguration where so often people interpret that, preachers interpret that as, well, it's revealing Jesus' true nature of glory and shining whiteness. But that's not what we get today. It's almost as if that trip up the mountain is, that transfiguration is an example of some whitewashing going on. Because it's just a superficial, surface transformation. Jesus has been revealing what is at the core, at his core, at what's at the core of God's kingdom. And we will see it again. We will see it again and again with Jesus. That trip up a mountain, that's just a one-time, that's a one-off. But when we see Jesus again and again, especially when he's lifted up on the cross, that's where we see the true equalizer. That's where we see what's really at the core. The way of God that Jesus preaches and teaches and lives is not one of vanquishing foes, fixing things, equalizing injustice with violence, but with love. Not saying not equalizing, but with love. This isn't some sexy superhero swooping down from above. God's way of Jesus embodies not a hero in a white cape or a white hat. That's just one brief moment. No, the equalizer we see when we come here week after week, the equalizer we encounter over and over again in the Gospels, practices love. Not always perfectly. Hey, who is perfect here? None of us. We all have to practice love and peace. We don't get it right all the time. We are practicing. And the thing is, it's love, and it's love for all. That's the greatest equalizer. It's not just love for some, but this is love for the downtrodden and the dictator. Love for the victim and the perpetrator. People full of themselves are loved, and those who have been emptied by the powers of evil are loved as well. This is not easy stuff. This is not just an answer that's just, oh, you can just do it. No. That is our equalizer. The one who seeks love to truly transform the world, not wipe out the violent, but transform even the violent into peaceful people. This is transforming the world away from the evil or easy answers of bigger guns and kill, kill, kill. Or in other situations, louder voices or bigger bank accounts. Hear me out. God's way in this world isn't about being comfortable, respectability, normalcy, or tranquility. Jesus isn't the tranquilizer. Following Jesus makes hard choices. It means knowing that in our lives we're going to be making hard choices. And it's hard work. And God is with us. Jesus is with us in those moments. We aren't going to get everything right, but that's okay. We are loved. We are forgiven. We get to start again, try again. We get to wrestle with how we do things as an individual, how we relate to our family members who just irk us, or the neighbor that you wish you could throw your potted plant at, but you really shouldn't. No. How do we wrestle with one another in a good way and as a church? This equalizer calls us to question, do we value success over faithfulness? Do we value order over inclusion and welcome? Do we value comfort over challenge? The way of the cross that Jesus calls us to is choosing this way of peace and forgiveness. It's not dazzling. It's dirty. It is faithful. It's not always familiar. It's powerful. It's not perfect. It's the way of love, though, and that is the greatest equalizer. Amen.